They
about that?
banned me. I believe they banned me.
Wow.
I know they banned me. You want me to tell you why they banned me?
Why do you think they banned you?
I am a believer of hacking the system, hacking your life. I'm a big fan of it. So
Okay.
honestly, I have a bank account with just about every federal credit union in my area.
Yeah.
Why? You ever notice that when you get a credit card, a lot of credit cards will.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Calvin Russell here. Listen, I'm super excited to bring you all yet another special guest. All right. Listen, this young lady needs no introduction. Her YouTube channel is taking off. And it's mainly because she's given so much good information about banking, about, credit cards, things of that sort, and overall budgeting as well. But either way, she does not have a lot of time. So I want to introduce you all to my friend, Tanisha. Can you hear us okay, Tanisha?
I can hear you. Hey.
All right, awesome, awesome. So let's get right into it, Tanisha, because listen, my audience, they don't like to mess around. All right. So, of course, you've been talking about a lot of different things on your YouTube channel, and one of the topics really caught my eye. And I said, you know what? My audience would love to have a deeper conversation about this. All right, Tanisha. Now, another thing that you mentioned as well, too, is that you had a situation happen with Chase Bank and how they denied you, or they didn't ban you, but they denied you. Tell me more
They
about that.
banned me. I believe they banned me.
Wow.
I don't know if you have any hookups. So anybody out there, any hookups, let me know. Because here's the
Right.
thing. I was telling you, my credit score when they banned is 848. How do I
Mm,
know? Because when you get denied, they send you the little letter that
right. Denial letter. Yeah.
wow, 2 points from perfect.
Mm,
So this is how I know. This is why I don't take credit scores too seriously.
that's right.
And I
Mm,
don't think anybody should, because sometimes
mhm,
I know people attach their self-worth to a score. But
mm,
honestly, in my belief system, a score is just gives banks sometimes an excuse to deny you.
mm,
Because this house. Yes, I bought this house. My score was in the 500s when I bought this house. Okay.
mm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
A
Right.
whole situation. I went and got a loan with one bank, finally found a bank to say yes. So I knew if I can get one bank to say yes, I can get another bank to say yes. Got
That's right.
another bank to say yes. And then I kept going back and forth. Well, this bank said this interest rate, then the other bank would beat the interest rate. Why? Because the
Mm,
loan product was high enough to make it worth their while. They didn't care
that's
about my
right.
credit score.
Mm,
Right. So had a horrible credit score, but got a interest rate of somebody who had a decent credit score.
that's right. Wow.
So now you would think if I have a credit score that's in the high 800s,
That's right.
everybody should give me a loan, right?
Everybody.
Not Chase. And I was saying before, I know I was telling somebody, I purposely will apply for a Chase product every 2 years just to see what happens. And they still continue to deny me.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they've banned me. But the funny part about it is I really like Chase products.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
like the products that they have. I
Yeah.
like the different credit cards. I like the benefits it comes with. And
Mm,
I'm not the person to take anything personal.
yeah.
So if you ban me, I'm still trying to find a way to get back in your good graces
That's
because
right.
I want to use your product to my benefit and to my
Yeah.
advantage.
Yeah.
But I know they banned me. Do you want me to tell you why they banned me?
Why do you think they banned you?
I know why they banned
Oh,
me.
tell us, Tanisha. Why? Tell us why they banned you.
So I was saying in another interview, I believe in
Mhm.
hacking your life, right? I
Mm,
believe that you should know how there's a hack to everything.
that's right.
So, you ever notice that when you get a credit card, a lot of credit cards will offer you incentives if you get authorized users,
That's right.
right? If you let somebody else in on your trade line, because
That's
that's what
right.
they're going to call your credit card, your trade line of credit.
Yeah.
And so one day I said, they really keep asking me to add authorized users. How can I
Mm,
work this to my advantage?
that's right.
So what I did was not illegal.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
It wasn't illegal. But what
Yeah.
they said to me was I did not use the card as intended. So what
Mm,
I did is there were other people out there
yeah.
because one of the things, and you know this too, in
Yeah.
improving credit, what's one of the tactics that you can do to improve credit?
Listen, people get piggybacking, as they used to call it, or trade lines now, as they call it, because they don't know who the people are sometimes. But yeah, becoming an authorized user is most definitely one of the quickest ways.
And so because me, somebody with a high credit score,
Hmm.
and I've had Chase products with high lines of credit,
Yeah,
$40,000, $50,000 line of credits on these cards,
yeah.
I would add people to my cards.
Mm,
I'm not saying they paid me or if they didn't pay me. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know. But Chase Bank didn't like it.
Mm,
And I disputed it. Hey, you asked me to add authorized users. That's what I did.
right.
They said, but you did not use the card as intended. How
Wow.
is the card intended to be used? You know how the
Wow.
card is intended to be used.
Right.
What they would love for you to do is to run up credit. What they
Yes,
would love for you to do is to owe balances where they will collect interest on it
they
because
want to
my
make that
cards were
money.
paid in full every
Hmm.
single month.
Yeah.
And because though I was adding people to my lines of credit,
Yeah.
they weren't necessarily seeing
Mm,
the
yeah. They want
the
to see the
outcome.
benefit. They weren't making no money from you.
They weren't making any money. And so
Mm,
they closed down my cards. I had
mm,
3 because I believe Chase approves like up to 3 cards, right?
mhm.
At once. Like,
Yeah,
child.
we've seen a couple different situations, but on average, that's safe to say.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the tactics is open up all 3 of the cards at the same time,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so that's what happened. And they closed down all 3.
Mm,
And like I said, I tried to stand 10 toes down with I followed your policy and
right.
your guidelines. But they said that was the word that they used. And guess what? Actually, there
What?
was a class action lawsuit with them too, and I got paid on that as well.
Listen, you steady getting these checks out here. I'm only getting a hand. Well, you know what though? See,
Money
right, but you
loves
also had
me.
accounts with these banks too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, money loves me. I always tell people that money loves me and it finds its way to me one way or another,
That's
but
an
Chase don't
affirmation.
want me back.
That's an affirmation out here, Tanisha.
Yeah, yeah, Chase don't want me back though. Yeah, you know how people say, "Oh, my mailbox always has bills." No, mine always has checks in it,
Always
like
got
for
checks.
real. But that's what they said, and I believe the class action lawsuit because I had did a video about this too on my channel
Mm,
because
yeah.
the term was it was the fact that they closed out my accounts, but they really didn't give a concrete, legit reason, and that's what the
Reason.
class
Yeah.
action lawsuit went into. That they had did this
Mm,
to like lots of people, and
yeah.
it goes back to the fact that they weren't making money from me,
Yeah.
but I was making money from them.
Mm,
Why?
mm,
Not just because I had the trade line things going,
right.
but also because I do the point thing and
That's right.
I work my point system to the
To the
I
max.
dot all the I's, cross all the T's. I don't
Mhm.
leave anything on the table. And when they
Yeah.
see me doing that, because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't, a lot of people will open up a card for the benefits, but rarely do they ever cash in on their benefits. And the
Right.
banks know this.
Mm,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so it was easier to let me go
Say,
than
listen,
to let me stay.
they said,
But
listen,
let
we ain't
me
making no
back
money
in,
off of
Chase.
her.
I love you.
Wow. Wow. Ain't that's such a crazy story to hear because you're the ideal client that Chase would look for. You're the ideal client that they say that they want, that they say that they want to keep, right? And and don't get me wrong, I do know that some banks are not sometimes they don't like the whole trade line piece and things of that sort. But even outside of that, again, it's not like that's the only thing that you had with them or did with them. There's obviously a track record, a history that you've built with
Yeah.
them. And they're like, listen, we can't make no money off this girl. This ain't gonna work.
Yeah. And I really do feel like, because I know you had another guest before talking
Yeah.
about what was it called? Like the personal business account
Oh,
manager.
yes. Yeah. A business account manager. Hmm.
I really do feel like if this system wasn't so automated,
Yeah.
then I probably could have stood a chance. But I really feel like I was dinged through an automated system that was like,
Yeah.
because that's what I do for a living. I'm a IT tech and we write these programs for the system for
Mm.
AI to find, things
Yeah.
that really aren't using things the way we want. It never takes into account the story. Like,
That's right.
what's the story there?
Yeah.
Because like you said, ideally on paper, I look good. I should be the ideal
Yeah.
customer, but they treating me like
Yeah. Absolutely. And I also, my bad, I said a business account manager, but yeah, a business relationship manager. And that's when uh someone so having access to someone like that is most definitely going to be key because and that's usually for businesses, because
Mhm.
they don't get the same type of customer service as the average person. But I think that these banks need to have relationships managers, even if they're not in bit like if
Yeah.
they don't have a business per se, because a lot of times if we let these computers just make all the decisions without a human double check, you're going to miss out on opportunities.
Oh my goodness, you don't even understand.
Uh-oh.
2, 3 days ago, I was a fan of Tesla,
Mm.
and I'm
You've been
think
talking about Tesla too. It's been up and down. What's going on now?
child, listen. Well,
Right.
recently my car broke down, like,
Okay.
day before going on vacation.
Yeah.
Car broke down in the parking lot. Treated me like I was somebody's stepchild. I was
Mm.
like, "Come on, car, we don't do this. Don't make me look bad." But the
Please.
car didn't care. So, on vacation, they finally sent me the bill, which was like $8,000 to get the car fixed.
Mm.
So, like any good budget, person, I
Yeah.
had to weigh the pros and cons. Do I go ahead and invest $8,000 into this car and get it
Mm.
fixed? Or do I say,
I'm
no,
done
it's
with
time
it.
for another car?
Hmm.
But
Especially 8,000.
I chose to get it fixed because I can't afford to I don't make emotional decisions.
I hear you. I
And
hear you.
so to get it fixed meant that the car could last me another good 4 years. So that's about on
Mm.
average about 2,000 a year.
Yeah.
So I said, you know
I hear
what?
okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So I did that. But then I went and picked this car up. Now let me tell you, after the pandemic, the customer service with Tesla downhill. Everything is through
Mm.
an app. You rarely, if ever, get a human person to
Wow.
talk things through, to work things out with, to ask questions to.
Yeah.
Everything through an app. And
Wow.
so even picking my car up after I paid this money, this $8,000 bill,
Yeah. Yeah.
to my car up, the app tells me you can come and pick your car up now.
Right.
It's
It's
gonna be
ready.
a parking lot. So I go there. My car is dirtier than when I brought it to them. You would think a place like Tesla would they used to wash the cars before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, they used to have a receptionist. They used to have people you can actually talk to.
Listen.
To the pandemic, during the pandemic, after they stopped all of that. And so,
Wow.
but not only that, why when I looked in my back seat yesterday, I saw a piece of my car laying in my back seat.
Are you serious?
I am so serious. And I
Wow.
had to look at this piece. Like the piece is like this
Yeah.
big.
Wow.
I had to look at it and read it to be like, what is this?
What's
And
going
it
right?
told me it went to my glove compartment. And so I went and looked, and sure enough,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Wow.
just yeah. And then even when I picked my car up, dirty gloves were in the car, like the rubber gloves. I was like, this again, it's treating you like
Yeah.
we
Wow.
don't need you as a customer anymore.
Yeah. Double it's simple. It's simply double checking things. And wow. And listen, he got them robots. So
Yeah,
it's a matter of time before they're gonna be doing it for you.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm like $7,000 repair, and you treat
Wow.
like I might as well have taken my car to Boo Boo on the corner, right,
Down the
and let them
street,
fix the car.
in the alley.
Yeah, 7,000. And this is what I got pieces. I got to snap my car back together. So I'm
Absolutely.
in the midst of writing a whole letter because it's
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is no unacceptable.
Wow.
But
Wow.
what I'm getting from it is that they do not value
Yeah.
me or probably anybody else as customers anymore.
Mm. You know what? Especially, and you hit it right on the head too. Especially with how much the client base spends on the cars, and just things of that sort. I can't believe it. Especially, listen. First off, the fact that you was ready to do that and pull that trigger, okay, 7 8 grand, and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and just get this, taken care of. But I get what you're saying too, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna have this car for for a certain amount of time, and I may as well just go ahead and just get this fixed, ride this out. Hey, but that which is another reason why he says, listen, these robots are on the way. So so that is crazy, Tanisha. Well, listen, We listen, we great appreciate you letting us know that story as well. And again, telling us your chase journey as well, too, because I'm sure, listen, if you all can relate to Tanisha, let us know inside the comment section below. What have you all have dealt with any bank, whether it's Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because again, you're not the only one that experiences things like this. But but it's, I won't say it's good to hear that story, but it's surprising, because it's like, okay, you know what, we do all these things to get the approvals and things of that sort, but again, you see someone like yourself when it's like, oh wow, so banks sometimes they don't make the best decisions,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate. It really is, it really is. And listen, you closed out an account with a major bank that a lot of people still trust to this day, and
Uh-huh.
that is Wells Fargo. So now, what made you want to close your Wells Fargo account?
Okay, honestly, I should have been closed out the accounts. Not so much because we hear, I don't know if you've heard this, but I know I've heard this in different conversations that they're
Yeah.
not really allies to Black and brown people. Like there's been a lot
Mm.
of problems. I haven't been able to dig into that, but let me say this. In the course of the years that I've had bank accounts with them, I have received a lot of what's the checks they give you when they do something wrong?
Oh, I forgot the name of that, but
Exactly.
but they
I've
gave you more
received a
than
lot
one.
of them. I've received a lot of them over the years because they've always in a lawsuit. So I've always been a part of these
Mm.
class action lawsuits with them for discrimination. But like I said, I've never really dug deep because honestly, my belief systems with a lot of institutions are most of them aren't friendly to us, to
Right,
Black and brown people. So I've
right.
never really taken that to heart because I can say the same with Bank of America. I've had issues with them. Yeah. So, but my main reason for closing them was simply because I was doing something that I've always tell people never to do, and
Mm,
that is pay fees. That is
mm.
paying fees. I was being charged $5 a month for having the account open only because I did not meet all of their standards. Like they
Okay.
want you to have a direct deposit going into the account. They want you to keep a certain balance to the account. And I had this account when it was for a business that I had shut down. So when I
Yeah,
had the business, I was having a direct deposit of those funds going into the account. When I shut down
yeah.
the business, the direct deposit stopped. So they started
Mm.
charging me $5. So of course, when I went in to close the account, they were saying, "Oh, we could waive that," which also made me a little like
Yeah,
ill because why didn't you reach out to me to tell me this? Because when you want me to
exactly.
open a new banking product, you
Right.
reach out. When you want me to, open up a
Listen.
credit card, they know how to reach out because you qualify. So
Right.
why can't you reach out and say, "Hey, here's something else that's available to you"?
Absolutely.
So I'm just not a fan. I mean, as consumers, we can't know everything. And
Yeah.
though it should be our job, it's hard to keep up with all of the things that we should know.
Right.
But
Exactly.
Southern though. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? You brought up a very good point too. And I don't think a lot of people think about that, especially when it comes to all of these class action lawsuits and settlements and things of that sort. And it's almost as if certain banks don't want people to stay with them because they quote unquote keep making these mistakes. Right.
They can get
And
away with it.
that part.
A
Yeah. They
numbers
can get away
game.
with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And how long were you with Wells Fargo?
Ooh, child. Woo! Probably a good, I would say a good 13, 14 years.
Got you.
Because
Yeah.
I opened up the account to go with that business
That's
back in
right.
the day when you really
Yeah.
kind of needed an easy place to do direct deposits and the
Yeah.
cash checks. But nowadays, because most things are, on the internet, you don't
Yeah.
need that anymore. Most things
Mm.
you could, you can take a picture of your checks now and deposit
That's
them.
right.
There
Right.
really isn't a reason to, honestly, I don't believe there's a reason to really have a brick and mortar bank account
Mm.
anymore when there's so many other products out there that give you better benefits.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? You brought up a good point. And it's like, if you are with a certain bank and you're not having a good experience, don't just force yourself to stay with them. It's a lot of banks, that are out here. And that's another point I wanted to bring up, was that, what is it about closing a bank account in general? Like, what is that really about? Or how does that affect anything once you close out a bank account?
It doesn't. I
Mm.
don't think it affects anything. I think that one of the reasons I think people don't do it is one, procrastination.
Mm,
Two, sometimes we still fall under this false premise that we want to have allegiance to something. Like we think our
mm,
loyalty means something,
right.
and it
Yeah.
really doesn't. It
Mm.
really doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know any other reasons why somebody wouldn't close a bank account. But maybe you know. Let me ask you this question. Does it affect credit scores? I don't think so.
Very good question. As far as like if it's a traditional bank account, it most definitely won't hurt the score directly. I would
Uh-huh.
say more of an indirect effect because you don't have that relationship. You know, a lot
Okay.
of banks, yeah, a lot of banks don't mind you getting a credit card product, a mortgage product, but they would much rather you have at least a checking account. Some banks even give you discounts. For example, we have a client where they closed on a home recently and the bank said, hey, if you get a checking account with us and you turn on auto pay, we'll give you a discount on your interest rate. And right
Mhm.
now, people are looking for situations like that. So it's more of an indirect effect. But at the same time, if a person is going through a situation where if the question's on the table anyway, should you close your account? That means something must have happened. And it's almost as if like, okay, there are other banks out here. Like you said, even with things being electronic nowadays, so it's not like you have to have a brick and mortar. Some people are just used to
Mhm.
that, and it's kind of tough to make that change. But like you said, people, they have a loyalty to something in which a lot of these institutions don't care about us you
Yeah.
know Now, what are some banks that you would, I won't say necessarily recommend, but you obviously had some other bank accounts. You don't have to
Right.
go into
I
names if
have
you don't
them
want to.
all. I have them all. I am a believer of hacking the system, hacking your life. I'm a big fan of it. So
Okay.
honestly, I have a bank account with just about every federal credit union in my area.
Yeah.
Why? Because they usually have better loan products. And
Mm,
just in case I might need them for a loan one day,
yeah.
I keep a little bit of money in a bank account with them. Just so that, like, for instance, when I purchased my car, I chose let me see, I have like about 5 different credit unions. So I solicit all of them to see who's giving the better rates, the better terms. And
That's
because I'm
right.
a member, because for most times, in order to get a loan with them, you have to be a member. I'm able
Right.
to use that when needed.
Yeah.
But honestly, I keep $65,
Mm.
$65 in one of the bank accounts just so that I'm a member.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah,
Wow.
no
Okay.
fees, nothing.
Okay. Do you believe, or do you think there is a such thing as having too many bank accounts?
Strategically, I think it depends on what's your plan? What's your
Yeah.
plan? Like I
Yeah.
said, $65 in one bank account is not going to make or break anything. If we look at interest rates, I'm not losing anything off of
That's right.
$65.
Yeah.
5% on 65, what's that? Who cares?
Hmm.
So, like I said, I keep membership just in case I want to use them
Yeah.
for a loan product. If somebody says, like, again, most bank accounts, they insure up to $250,000. If you have
Okay.
250,000 in a bank account, why? But just in case you do, clearly it shouldn't be in one
That's
place.
right.
Spread it around. But
That's right.
honestly, you really shouldn't be doing that in the first place. So I would say the answer to that is, why are you doing it? If you tell me you're
Mm,
doing it because this is why I'm doing it, then yeah, maybe that's fine. But I
yeah.
always say that your money in one big account, the compound interest on that is going to go much further than trying to spread it around.
There you go. And okay, that was my next question. How do you know, like, what's your process for choosing a bank account? But you more so try to start with credit unions and just try to stick that direction for the most part.
Oh, no, I know I'm gonna confuse you and your audience. No, my credit union is only because, again, membership sometimes has its privileges.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's perk. Yeah.
even another credit union that I'm a part of, it pays me dividends once a quarter.
Mm,
So in that, I apply to insurance policies because I have my
yeah.
insurance policies with them. So that works
Okay.
out for me.
Yeah.
But mainly, I would say a high yield savings account. High yield
Okay.
savings account is where I will put most of my money because that's going to give you a higher interest rate, right? More
Yeah.
so than even a credit union. So, yeah. So even on my channel, I talk about the one that I really like right now, which is Goldman Sachs Marcus account.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
has a higher interest rate. Plus, there's very little quid pro quo. You don't have to do
Yeah.
a lot. You don't have to do a direct
Mm,
deposit. You don't have to do all. You don't have to jump through a lot of
yeah.
hoops. Just put your
Yeah.
money there. It's fine. Plus, they give you a
Yeah.
cute little referral code, and so every time somebody uses it, it gives you even more of
Yeah.
a bonus. So I really, and it's a solid product. So I really like
Yeah.
them. But there's other
Okay.
ones too that, you could
Okay.
just do a whole Google on a good high yield savings account and go with that. Do your research. But yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that answer too. I really do. Because there's a lot of people where, obviously, if they have a bank down the street from them, or their parents had a certain bank, or growing up, or sometimes it may be their first bank account or something like that. And I think that loyalty ties into it. But they need, listen, everyone watching this, listen, this is why we brought Tanisha here. She knows this stuff, especially comparing, certain banks and certain credit unions and things of that sort, as well. And she talks about this on her YouTube channel. But you know what? I want to take a step back. And by the way, guys, if you
Mhm.
want to watch more videos on her channel, make sure you guys go ahead and then, of course, search her up on YouTube. Okay, her channel is Fun and Budget. All right. So now let's go back into this. What made you, Tanisha? What made you want to start giving people information on your YouTube channel? What made you even get into this space?
Okay, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. There came a point when I started my channel, actually.
Yeah.
I used it as an accountability tool because at that point, about 7, 8 years ago,
Yeah.
I said, I make a decent income, but I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just not like
Yeah.
nothing. What's happening? What
Yeah.
should be happening?
Mm,
So, in the process of educating myself, I decided to start a channel and talk about what I learned as I learned it. And
yeah.
I just wanted to share. I was excited about what I learned. And then
Mm,
I was also feeling like, well, dag, why hasn't anybody
mm,
told me these things? Why
that's
aren't
right.
my friend groups having these discussions? So I
Mm,
decided to make you all my friend group that we can have these discussions.
that's right.
And so
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm gonna say
yeah.
my life, my finances, everything changed since I
Yeah.
started doing that.
That's good. And you know what I like about it too is that you're teaching people as you're learning, like you just mentioned, because that's what's so great about this, that we can always remain a student. And as long as we remain a student, we're always learning something new and fresh. And speaking of learning something new, you have
Mhm.
been, of course, blazing a trail, telling your story about how you've been able to pay off so much. I mean, your house is almost paid off, but you've been
Almost.
really aggressively. Say that again.
Almost.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
listen, I was like, okay, I'm about to say, I know it ain't done yet. I'm sure the video is gonna come out when that happens. But but still, you've aggressively done something that a lot of people can't even fathom, and that's paying off your mortgage early. How
Yeah.
have you been able to do that?
Mindset first, because like you said,
Yeah,
most people can't even fathom it, and I
yeah,
am most people. When
yeah.
I started this journey, the idea of even putting anything extra on the house sound really absurd to me because I was like, I can use that money in other places,
I
bump
know,
that.
right?
You're always gonna have a mortgage, you're always gonna have a car payment. You always hear these things. You're always gonna have
Mm,
these things, so why rush to pay them off? But
right.
then as I started my financial education journey, one of the things I started doing was watching a lot of people who were already living the lifestyle that I wanted. And that
Mm,
was paying off a house. You heard about people taking out a 15-year loan, mortgage, things like that. And I said, well, I'm kind of late to the party
yeah,
because I think I've already had my mortgage about 7, 8, 9 years already. And I said,
okay,
well, what can I do to kind of make up some time? So I
yeah,
just started by just adding a little bit extra to the mortgage payment every single month.
yeah.
As I
Mm,
started doing that, the goal grew. Like I would
yeah,
say, let's do 50. Then it was like,
yeah.
okay, let's do 75. Okay, let's do
Mm,
100. Now, honestly, I'm adding 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 at a time a month. But I
wow,
think I had to plant the seed and then water the seed.
that's right.
And because it was like something that I said I want to do, for some
Yeah.
reason, doors started opening up and more money started pouring in. I house hack,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know? So I rent out rooms in this very home, and that all
Mm.
that extra money gets to be applied to the mortgage.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Very smart. Listen, listen. This is why we brought Tanisha here. Okay. Giving these gems. I saw you was talking about some crazy tenant stories. We ain't gonna go too deep into that. To
Child. Because I've also had rental properties.
got
So that wasn't
right.
even with this house. The
Yeah.
people who stay here are normal. I've never had any issues. I've been house hacking for 9 years, no issues. But I
Wow.
had a rental property. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was
Wow.
crazy.
Okay. How many rental properties do you have now?
I only have this house now.
Oh, got you. Okay, perfect. Got you. Okay.
Yep.
And then you
Because
rent out like 2 or 3 rooms a month or
let me see, one, two, three, four in a possible.
wow. Okay, now
Four in
we
a
playing
possible,
spades.
and I'm
Okay, now we
about
playing
to
spades out
start
here.
doing something different where I'm gonna start renting out beds per instead of a room, I'm renting out beds in a room.
Got you.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. It's such a different concept, Tanisha, and it's so
it
smart what you're
is.
doing, especially, when you have that comfort and finding out, obviously, not just who people are, but again, and not just blowing that extra money, right? And
Mhm.
having a strategy, for that. How much time have you shaved off of paying your mortgage, you think?
Honestly, when this house is paid off, I would have paid it off in 16 years versus
Wow.
30. Yeah.
Wow. That's literally half the
So
time.
and that was me starting late on the journey. Like, had
Yeah.
I known what I knew,
Mm.
I would have started the day I got the mortgage. I would have started adding something extra. But my
Yeah.
mentality at that time wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
So
The mentality at the time. Wow. And you know what? That's the thing. We don't know what we don't know, right?
mhm,
And but once you found out that information, you said, okay, you know what? This makes sense to me. And so here, obviously that plays a role though, right? Let's talk about that with your payday routine. Okay.
mhm.
And so you did a video recently on it was some really great tips on what people should do or have a payday routine in general. What type of payday routine should people have to accomplish their goals?
Funny that you asked because today is actually payday for me.
There you go. Listen, okay,
Today
I
is
listen on
payday.
it.
One of my
There you
favorite
go.
holidays,
Right,
payday.
it's
My favorite.
payday.
Now imagine this. Let me say this too. When
Yeah.
this house is paid off, imagine a whole paycheck getting to
Mm,
go to you. And
mm,
not because usually for somebody, rent and mortgage is like your biggest expense.
yeah,
Imagine that being gone, and when you get paid, the money truly is yours
yeah.
and you don't owe it to anybody. That's why I love being debt free. That's
Mm,
debt free all the way. Money is
yeah.
yours. So payday, my favorite holiday. So the first thing I do is go into the bank account, make sure all the numbers are right. Yeah, there's a whole story behind that, but make sure
Okay,
all the numbers are right. I automate, when they say pay yourself first, which
absolutely.
basically is the fact that you're going to make sure that you're putting money into future investment accounts for your future self. That's what pay
Mm,
yourself first is. I
yeah,
say that because whenever I hear pay myself first, to
yeah.
me, I think, well, that means this money that I should be able to give myself so I can go
Go
shopping.
spin, right.
Think of it more paying your future self first. I
That's right.
automate that part. So I
Mm,
automate all of the 401ks coming out, my HSAs. I max out everything. And so then also live a credit card lifestyle, which is
okay.
a lot of people don't necessarily believe in that. But for me, I pay everything with a credit card. All my utility bills, cell phone
Mm,
bills, whatever I can do, I pay for with credit cards in exchange for points, travel
that's
points,
right.
'cause I'm an avid traveler.
Yeah.
And so
Mm,
then I go in and I make sure I pay off my credit card balances. Now,
yeah,
with the credit card, it's not just willy-nilly spending. Everything
that's
is
right.
within my budget plan, right? So we
Yeah,
know that whatever I've been swiping, I have the money for in this paycheck to pay it off. So
that's
that's
right.
the next thing that I do with my paycheck. Then
Yeah,
I also say the paycheck is a time for you to check in with yourself that month. You kind of see where you stand. You kind
yeah,
of see, like, okay, if this is the end of the month, how much do I have left over that
yeah,
I didn't spend on bills or whatever, credit cards or whatever?
yeah.
And for example, if I have $500, I then get to make another stretch goal. My
Mm,
stretch goal can either be, depending on you and where you're at in your journey, can
yeah,
either be towards savings, like a
yeah.
financial goal. If you have some debt to pay off, you can say, hey, I can make a stretch goal that I can send another $250 to my mortgage,
Mm,
or you might need more of a reward. Maybe
Okay.
you've been out at the mall and you've had your eye on something that you wanted to buy, and you can say, I can make a stretch goal that if I
Yeah.
don't just blow this money, I
Yeah.
now have the money for that thing that I've been kind of wanting to get, or a
Yeah.
massage or a treat, or, so
Mm.
you just kind of figure out what your reward system is or what does it for you. For me, meeting my financial goals is what moves me, paying off this
Wow.
house.
I think that's so smart because, again, like you mentioned, everyone's going to have a slightly different financial goal. They got to find out what's going to work for them. But I think,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, when a lot of people don't even know to pay themselves first and then getting clarification on exactly what that means and not just splurging on yourself right away. Not that you can't do it, but you're making sure that you're, like you said, you're putting something away for your,
Yep.
your future, the future you, and but you still obviously put some money to the side, but instead of buying certain things, you're more excited about paying off your mortgage. So
Yes. Yes. And I
yeah,
think of it too, like the beginning of the month is for your future self, right? This is where I'm
yeah.
going to fund the 401ks. I'm going to do this. The end of the month is for you, like your play self. What might
Mm,
you need to feed your spirit?
right.
You're rewarded by whatever you didn't spend, whatever
Yeah,
you managed to keep. Now
yeah,
you get to make some decisions with that. That might be more fun.
yeah,
And like I said, for me, savings and paying off stuff is fun for me. But
yeah,
but also traveling is fun for me too. So this is
yeah.
a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, we know that, of course, we want to continue to monitor your journey. We greatly appreciate, I know I do, you sharing so much about that journey as well, too, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, especially not just in economic times like this, but, we always, have money goals that we want to try to accomplish, or some people may be going through money issues and they're looking
Mhm.
for a way to climb out of that. And I really like the fact that you're obviously always sharing that information and making sure that people know what their options are. And as you learn, you're like, hey, listen, this is what you can do. Because you've gone from telling people about being a landlord and buying certain cars and things of that sort. So I know that, of course, you've learned a lot, over the years. And we just greatly appreciate you not only taking out the time today, but constantly making that content, helping people, understand that they do have options out here for sure.
Yes. Well, I really appreciate you for inviting me over here to have this conversation with you. And it's funny because I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, listen, I'm going 850 credit score. He was like, what are they asking you for? You don't have 850. I'm like, you know what, hater? Nobody, this
Right.
is why you're not invited. No, but no, but honestly, I do have close to 850 because when he said that, I went in and checked my numbers
Yeah.
and yeah, like, don't play with me.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Our main focus is personal credit. But I learned that as months went by, people was like, "Hey, Calvin, I'm no longer 400, 500, 600 credit score anymore. What else should I be doing?" And then that's when we
Mhm.
started to say, you know what? We should start telling people about home ownership and business credit and buying property and just things of that sort. And so a lot of times people always think it's always about having an 850 credit score, and it's really about the content. Is really about making sure that no matter
Yeah.
where people are in their credit journey, because let's be honest, if they're not doing things like what you're doing, it does
Mhm.
what good is it? What good
Yeah.
is it? And there are people who are watching this and saying, hey, you know what? I want to own property someday. I want to have, multiple tenants and things of that sort. How can I do that? You need the credit to get that, to get that going. But then I want to make sure people know what their options are,
Yeah.
So when people watch the channel, we get people that are still paying high interest. And it's like, no, improve your credit score. That's step one. But we're not just celebrating that. We're like, hey, what can we do with this new credit score?
Yes.
That's what it's
Yes.
all about.
This is
So
all about the tools. It's
that's right.
again, the credit score, me having all these bank accounts in the different
Yeah,
credit unions, they're all tools.
that's
So
right.
that when you do decide that, hey, I want a car, but I want to take on a loan product,
Yeah,
here's the different tools I have in my tool belt.
yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, thanks again, Tanisha. We greatly appreciate you having taking out the time and being away from your family, your boyfriend. That's also listen. Next time we'll see if we get him on too. No, I'm kidding, but but we greatly appreciate you taking out the time today, as well too, especially away from your channel and such as well too. And I'm gonna put that back up here, guys. Make sure you all, if you don't do anything, make sure you all go ahead and check out Tanisha's channel when you can, so you guys can get this information that she's dropping every single day. And Tanisha, is there anything else you want to leave with the audience before we get out of here today?
I think we covered it
Yeah,
all. I really think we covered it all.
I
And
tried to.
yeah. Yeah. So again, I'm just happy to be here, and
Awesome.
now I'm gonna get back to editing these videos.
I know that's right. Okay, awesome. Thanks again, Tanisha. We greatly appreciate you. And listen, guys, let us know in the comment section if you want us to bring Tanisha back so we can go ahead and get some more information from her. And of course, Tanisha, please keep us posted on your mortgage journey because we're gonna celebrate that. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, then. You have a good one.
All right. You too.